UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Welcome to Franchise Fatigue. I am your host, Brandon-Shea, and joining me, as always, is my ever-constant buddy, my favorite toy to play with, Zach Moore.
How's it going, Brandon?
I am doing very swell. You know, I've been lonely here in the closet a little while, but just, I'm always here for you, buddy. Well, we've got a special guest joining us for the first time on Franchise Fatigue, Jamie Thomas. How are you, Jamie?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
We are very excited to have you on. So you are the wife of our guest from last week, Brad Thomas.
I am. I know that guy.
You know that guy. We spoke a little bit last week about your business, but why don't you tell the listeners again about Click the Mouse and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a travel agent and I specialize in Disney vacations. So I do Disney Cruise, Disneyland, Disney World, Adventures by Disney, and Aliani. So it's a super fun job. I get to plan people's vacation for a living. And my services are completely free because my commission comes from Disney and for the sale. So then they just get my planning services for free.
And what's the craziest vacation you've ever planned? Can you tell us?
Oh, goodness. Probably when people come to me and they're like, budget is not a limit and they want to have like VIP tours and it's kind of like almost like a, star treatment. That's pretty fun and kind of rare, because not usually people have a budget in mind. So, yeah, those are fun ones to plan.
Now, your website is clickthemouse.com?
clickthemouse.ca/Jamie.
/Jamie.
Yeah.
And can you do vacations in other countries other than Canada? Because you're in Canada. You're here in Regina with me here.
Yeah, so I have clients from all over, and it's really fun. I have guests from Australia and lots from the States, and so I get to meet a lot of different people kind of via the internet, and luckily my business is kind of all over the internet, right? So I get connected to different people, which is cool.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's it like working every day in a Disney environment and just absolutely hating everything Disney?
I kind of live, eat, and breathe Disney, so my life is definitely consumed, and it's fun. I like it, so it's definitely a passion and, something that I enjoy doing from home, and yeah.
Were you a Disney fan before you got involved in travel, or did being the travel agent for Disney amplify your love of Disney?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, it's definitely amplified it. That's for sure. I loved it before, but now I'd say like it's a level of obsession that's maybe a little too much. Like when I go to the store and I see fishy crackers that are Mickey Mouse ones, I'm like, well, I have to have fishy crackers that are Mickey Mouse ones. They could be 50 cents more. I don't care. I'm buying them because they have Disney on them. So I'm like, I got to get them. So yeah, no, I'm a sucker for Disney now for anything.
It's all about the brand.
Yep.
All about the branding. Awesome. Excellent. Well, as far as the Toy Story series go, we are jumping into tonight's episode. This is Toy Story 4. This is what we've been waiting for. Now, I forgot to mention last week, before we jump into it, when I watched Toy Story 3 at home last week, I actually did watch it in 3D because I have the 3D Blu-ray and I've got a 3D projector in my basement. And I saw this in theaters in 3D on Friday afternoon with my girls. I took them all out. Did you guys see this in 3D? Zach, did you see this in 3D?
No, I'm not a 3D kind of guy, Brandon. I try to avoid wearing glasses when I go into theaters when I can, and yeah, I'm just, unless there's something like super like Avatar or something, I really don't go. I go out of my way not to see 3D movies, to be honest. So
yeah, I'm with Zach. I don't like 3D movies.
Oh boy. Well, I love 3D movies. I thought it was really good. I thought the 3D was actually quite quite well done in this movie. I thought it looked really, really well. There's a couple of great scenes, like some of the nighttime shots of the highway and in the trees and stuff like that. The depth was really good, and so I thought they did a really great job with the 3D in this one. And I wanted to mention that this time because they didn't last time.
I will say I have found, because on occasion I do see a 3D movie, that animation or heavy CGI, when they can really build the world with 3D, you can really take advantage of it. That translates a lot better. But ultimately, I feel like a lot of 3D are just like conversion rush jobs to get more money out of the audiences, and they really don't add that much to the experience. So,
I agree.
Excellent. Well, let us jump into Zach's wonderful trivia with the making of Toy Story 4. Take it away, Zach Moore.
This is new. It's fresh, guys. There haven't been making of books and DVD documentaries and commentaries to listen to this whole time. So here we go. So Pixar initially had no plans to do a fourth film in the Toy Story franchise, and they felt that they had reached a closing point to the story with Andy saying goodbye to his toys, and therefore us saying goodbye to the toys. But of course, the film was a huge success, so they were prompted to continue the franchise with the toys in Bonnie's room, part of her set of toys, and they did some short films, some TV specials, and that eventually led to Toy Story 4, which was announced in late 2014. So this is almost 5 years before its release. So these films do take a long time to make. Now, the writer, creator, director of the original two Toy Stories, John Lasseter, had said Pixar would only make a fourth film if it was just as good or better than the previous three in the franchise. And he said, quote, "We don't want to do anything with these characters unless it lives up to or surpasses what's gone before," which is a good sentiment, I think, when you make any sequel. Now, the story for Toy Story 4 was created by John Lasseter, Andrew Stanton, Pete Docter, Lee Unruh, but also, according to Annie Potts, about 75% of the original screenplay was thrown out and had to be written when the original screenwriters, Rashida Jones and Will McCormack, left production. And one of the reasons why the film's release was pushed back a couple of times, because it came out a couple years after they had planned. They originally were kind of toying with a 2017 date, hence announcing it in 2014. So a little behind-the-scenes drama there. But this is the only Toy Story film, our friend Mike Schilling will appreciate this, the only Toy Story film presented in the 2:35:1 letterbox aspect ratio, because the first three were in the taller 1:85:1 aspect ratio. So you cinemaphiles can file that away in your trivia for the aspect ratio presentation.
I actually noticed that.
You did.
As soon as the movie started, I'm like, this is wider than normal. Wow, this is interesting.
Toy Story 4, this is the first Pixar film not to be accompanied by a short film since the original Toy Story. And part of this is because they're launching Disney Plus, and they have their own series of Pixar shorts through Spark Shorts, so they're more transitioning over that streaming media there. So this is Josh Cooley directed this film. This is his directorial debut, although he was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay for Inside Out back in 2015. And John Lasseter was originally going to direct Toy Story 4 to kind of close out the franchise since he began it. But he decided that Josh Cooley would take over because Lasseter, he had been being the CEO of Disney Animation Studios, and though he's still an executive producer, he wanted someone else to take over the director duties, which is John Lasseter. We do have Randy Newman returning, so it makes 4 straight movies for him, doing the compositions, being the composer for all 4 Toy Story movies. He wrote new themes for Bonnie, Gabby Gabby, and Duke Kaboom, and also a couple of songs for the film, The Ballad of the Lonesome Cowboy and I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away, which I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away is performed by Randy Newman and featured in the film, and Ballad of the Lonesome Cowboy is over the end credits.
Yeah, that first one that's in the movie, that song is just terrible.
I kind of liked it. It was very Randy Newman, I thought, but
yeah, that's kind of why it's terrible.
The only cast members that have appeared in all 4 of the Toy Story films are Tom Hanks as Woody, Tim Allen as Buzz Lightyear, Wallace Shawn as Rex, John Ratzenberger as Ham, and then Debbie Derryberry, Jeff Pigeon as the Little Green Men and the Squeeze toy aliens. The claw, that's them. And then Frank Welker did all the animal vocals. So they're the only ones that have been in all 4 movies. Some characters that do not appear are the Green Army Men. Although they were featured in the poster for the film, they did not feature in this movie, and probably a lot of that has to do with R. Lee Emery having passed away in 2018, so he can come back as Sarge. Plus, all those guys retired to Sunnydale, so we're not going to bring them back. Didn't bring back Michael Keaton as Ken, other characters who were at Sunnydale. We didn't need to see them; they're not part of this story. Now, another actor who passed away was Don Rickles, who had voiced Mr. Potato Head. And there were discussions between Disney and his family if they could still, use other recordings and different takes and different, video games, animated shorts, anything they had recording of him as Mr. Potato Head used in the movie. And his family and Disney agreed that, hey, let's do it, because his daughter is quoted as saying, quote, "He always said, keep my name alive, let them know who I am." So he'd be thrilled by the fact that he was living on posthumously as Mr. Potato Head. And you can tell, like, they don't say that much. It's like, hey, watch where you're going, or stuff like just generic stuff. But it's good to have them included, I think. And Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key, who are famous from the comedy sketch show Key and Peele, which I'm huge fans of, so I was really happy to see in this movie. So when they were on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, they told the story of their recording sessions, and they have a brief little song or a snippet of a song they sing in the movie. And this is what their quote. They said, quote, "They put a bunch of lyrics down for us one day and said, we're wondering if you could just kind of burst into song." And we're like, "Oh yeah, whatever song you want." And they're like, "No, we don't really have the song. Could you write a song right now?" And they said, "We sang for 20 minutes straight. They recorded for about 30 minutes, and there's about 5 seconds of it in the movie," which is funny. It's been like, "We're going to find a kid," or something like that. And it's just funny to know that how much time they spent and how much of it was actually in the film. Now, according to director Josh Cooley, Gabby Gabby was a shout-out or a reference to Talking Tina from The Twilight Zone. So I thought that was a pretty cool... being Twilight Zone's fans, being Brandon, I thought that was a cool note there. And also I don't know if this was intentional or not, but the ventriloquist dummies walking around kind of being her henchmen also made me think of, obviously, Twilight Zone dummies there, because it was a really creepy vibe going on as well.
I think all ventriloquist dummies look the same, though, pretty much.
That's true.
They all have that creepy look.
That's true, and they do make jokes about that in the film, like how, oh, he looks terrifying. Like I love those moments there. Now, tying back to a bit of earlier trivia about, remember when Toy Story 2 was almost deleted off the hard drive? When Bo Peep gets taken away, the license plate of that car, the license plate is RMRF97, and that was the command that almost erased Toy Story 2. So that's a nice in joke there for the animators. Little inside joke here. One of the recorded phrases on Buzz Lightyear is when he's pressing his buttons, listening for his inner voice, is "Open the pod bay doors," and that's of course a reference to Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. There are also some other visual references like The Shining and the car driving up the road and those kind of things. So there are lots of cinematic references to other things that they mix in here. So that's a lot of fun. And Tom Hanks, he said that the ending for him was very emotional and, quote, "a moment in history," and that he couldn't face the crew recording his final lines because he got so emotional with him. And Tim Allen shared that sentiment, and he said, quote, "I literally had a tough time watching it because it brought up some of my own personal stuff about loss, change, moving on. It's heartwarming, a little tough, but essentially pays off." And finally, in Muppets Most Wanted, I don't know if you guys have seen the new Muppets movies, there's a song, and if we had a song for this podcast, Brandon, we should use this song, license it out from Disney. I'm sure it's very cheap and easy to license out, but it's a song called "We're Doing a Sequel," right? It's like, "We're doing a sequel." That's my Kermit the Frog impression. But Gonzo mentions they're waiting on Tom Hanks to make Toy Story 4, and it's a joke, but before they knew it was announced, and here you are with Toy Story 4. So there you go, a nice fun note to end us on as far as Toy Story 4 trivia goes.
Nice. Awesome. Great job, Zach. Thank you very much. I know it's tough on these new ones, like when they're just released, because there's not a lot of information out there, but you were able to find some great knowledge there. I love it. Thank you so much.
Now, just to start at the beginning, at the concept of a Toy Story 4, right? Toy Story 3 was a perfect ending. Like, you could not have asked for a better ending for these characters. And you hear there's a Toy Story 4 coming. You're like, you guys haven't let me down yet. I have faith. Let's see what you got. Now that we've seen Toy Story 4, I mean, I know kind of jumping ahead to what we thought, but that's going to inform kind of the rest of our discussion here, really. Like, did this work as a continuation of the franchise or not for y'all?